Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's get into this. Now, I'm just covering, not going after Gil, whatever. This is why it's on One Crack News. Like I said, I don't want to have to deal with that individual. Now, what people don't realize here is there's a situation that has been going on that we've exposed before. And they were saying how Bill Simmons came out and said that people are cheating in the game. And people just say it's a very expensive way to go out. But that was accused by Bill Simmons himself and stated it, and he brought it out to the public and to the world. And he said that all these podcasters are lying publicly about their audience sizes and buying YouTube subscribers. Oh, yeah, that boy Gil is scared as can be. So Dan LeBatard came out and made a statement, this time actually naming Gilbert Arenas. Let's listen to this.
You guys, can you guys tell me whether or not you've been following at all the journey of Gilbert Arenas? Because it's been really interesting to watch all the things that Arenas is doing, pouring a great deal of money into the making of content. He's gotten into the content business in a way that is expensive and has been successful. There are not a lot of athletes who have had the success in this space that Gilbert Arenas has. Gilbert.
Now, he just said a very key word there. Gilbert Arenas is spending a lot of money on content.
You've been following at all the journey of Gilbert Arenas because it's been really interesting to watch all the things that Arenas is doing, pouring a great deal of money into the making of content.
Pouring a lot of money into the making of content. And all of these guys are in the podcast business. They know what's going on. They know what's legitimate and what isn't. So when they see in him trying to buy his way to the top, they know it's like, okay, you're trying to generate interest and to get into all the algorithms. You're cutting up all these shorts. You're spending a lot of money to spread yourself all over YouTube and just saturate the entire market to let people try to believe that you're bigger than what you actually are and fool the masses. So, once again, someone else is exposing and bringing this to light. And he's going to bring to light the real reason Gilbert Arenas got suspended for 50 games. And now, yet again, it didn't come from Kwame Brown. It didn't come from me. It came from somebody who's in the space. So Gil ain't going to respond to them because they white. And they know what you're doing. They know that you're buying your way in. This is your goal. This is your way. Fake it till you make it. Now, we have already exposed that Gilbert has the number one. He's supposed to be the number one sports podcast or whatever. He claims he's beaten Nightcap and all of these shows on YouTube. He bragged about it. He was happy as can be. But Gilbert Arenas is nowhere near any of the top podcast shows. None of them. And if you need the proof, we'll bring you here. Oh yeah, well, he need to talk to you. Yep. But look at the podcast shows. Let's take a look. Look, these are all the top podcast shows. They got the Oprah show. They got all these shows. This is all the shows combined from podcasts. You're nowhere near this listening. We're 50 all the way down. And they say, well, he's sports. Where would he rank in sports? Because he's not, this is just all regular podcast shows. What about the actual real shows? That's the top 100, right? So when you look at the top 100 and you don't see his name, not worried about it. I'm reporting it. Why are you asking why Dan LeBatard is? Now I'm gonna let y'all look it up. I'll find the sport. Hold on. Uh-oh. Can y'all probably can't hear this. Hold on one sec. Yeah, they keep coming with craziness. It's trying to mess up my live streams, everything. All right, here we go.
Following at all the journey of Gilbert Arenas because it's been really interesting to watch all the things that Arenas is doing, pouring a great deal of money into the making of content. He's gotten into the content business in a way that is expensive and has been successful. There are not a lot of athletes who have had the success in this space that Gilbert Arenas has. Gilbert Arenas, during his playing days and afterward, is an uncommon personality anywhere in athletics where he's actively willing to be a troll. This goes back to his playing days. He got suspended, one of the longest suspensions ever that I thought before watching the Netflix documentary. I really did think that Gilbert Arenas didn't get into historic suspension trouble for bringing a gun into a locker room and having a showdown with Darius Crittenden. I thought that the suspension initially would be over that. And then I thought, no, the reason that he got that long a suspension is because while he was still playing, while they were trying to figure out what to do with that, he came out and did a gun celebration with finger guns, and then he got yanked off the court. But it turns out, after watching the Netflix documentary, that the reason he got suspended for that, he says, is because he was just on NBA planes going back and forth all over the place with a bunch of guns.
That's why he got the 50 games. This is why he's been very quiet about everything, because that's the real reason why. Remember, he says, Carcino, find out the real reason why. That's the real reason why. He got 50 games, and they were going to void his contract if he challenged it because he had been flying back and forth on planes with guns. And they were going to void his contract. They were going to void Gil's contract, and he would be gone out of the league. So David Stern told him he was going to be gone. Now, when he did that whole incident, bringing guns in the locker room, he wasn't even suspended by the president of operations or general manager, Ernie Grunfeld. Ernie, nope, he didn't see nothing wrong with anything Gilbert was doing. Didn't even suspend him. He couldn't do no wrong. So if you're not going to suspend this man for bringing guns in a locker room, you got the man still playing basketball games. Then, after the fact, you go ahead and change the whole narrative after the fact. And they said, okay, we're going to give him 2 games. He was only getting a 2-game suspension for bringing guns in the locker room. Then he did the whole finger thing, and that just pissed David Stern off. And he told you what was going to happen to you. He told you. Oh, yeah.
Dan, a couple of things. Gilbert Arenas, like Shaquille O'Neal, sometimes embellishes stories, right? But it is true. His initial suspension for having the guns in the locker room and all that was like 2 games, 3 games, or something like that. He gets reactivated. That first game back when he's reactivated, he comes out with the finger gun salute, and David Stern blew a gasket. And that's when he threw the book at him, which is what I actually ask Adam Silver to do all the time. Throw the book at him.
He's being introduced before a game in the middle of this controversy, and as he does so, he does finger guns as if he thinks all of this is funny, that he's getting suspended for a couple of games.
So this is the backdrop. This is the guy, kind of guy he is. I mean, even we talk about the showdown, if you will. Crittenden walks in the locker room, and Gilbert has 3 guns on the chair and says, pick one. And Crittenden says, I don't have to do that. I got my own. Cocks it, starts singing, oh, let's do it. And it said everybody ran out of the locker room except for Gilbert Arenas. And I heard this from not Gilbert Arenas. He sat back and he laughed. So this is the level of troll, ladies and gentlemen. He's willing to die for the joke, right? Or at least he was when he was a player. When Gilbert retired, I said, this guy would be great on TV. The problem is he's Gilbert Arenas. He plays by nobody's rules. We had him on the jump one time. Our producer sat with him for 40 minutes in pre-show meeting. All they were doing was going over words you can't say. What about, can I say this word? No, you can't say that on TV. No. They finally landed on douchebag. Can I say douchebag? Fine, Gilbert, you can say douchebag. And then he proceeded on the jump to work the word douchebag into every single answer of every question thrown at him. This is a Gilbert Arenas who at another time could never exist on TV. But because of the great equalizer of the internet, he has become a massive star for all the reasons of rule breaking, of being a troll, of all these things have allowed him to be a massive star. Now, here's the deal, Dan. We got the gambling scandal, and this is him talking about the day he learned maybe I should stop trolling.
Me trolling my own case, and I'm ready to snitch, right? And then I'm looking at the case like, all right, Chauncey, Rozier, the f this guy doing me? what happened is we're getting ready to go on the show. So I'm like, I'm not going to mess this moment up. Not going to mess this moment up, right? So
what did the lunch bag say again?
Informant lunch. I didn't know, because, I'm reading on real time and then, going on the show, I didn't know how serious that was. And then once I realized how serious it was, it kind of scared me. But then, right, it started saying like,
the crime families.
Like, I've heard these names before, right? Like I'm watching because I watch Dateline and I watch, all this mob. So I be watching like, okay, got an argument at a restaurant. Next day, restaurant blew up. Oh, okay. Car blew up. Whoa, like, okay, so they here's about their business on just arguments. This is real. This is for families.
Mm-hmm.
And my name is in it for no damn reason. Do they think this is real? Do they think I'm a part of it? Listen, I didn't get in my car for about a week and a half.
Really?
Hell no.
I mean, let's talk about what's real and what. No, I believe I don't. This one's interesting, right? I did not believe that there was a trolling line that Gilbert Arenas would not cross, because I too marveled at, in a locker room where Gilbert knew what his power was as the star and the star moneymaker, he pushed a teammate to the brink on the game of chicken of, you're not going to shoot me in here. Here are the guns. Teammates are running out, but he's that committed to the joke.
Layout.
He does not fear the FBI. He does not fear basketball investigations. He does fear the mafia, obviously.
No. That's exactly it, Dad.
So now he fears the mob that he claims he don't know and don't know how he's even involved. So his trolling of the situation, talking about, I'm going to tell, he don't know that all of this trolling was not good to do. I'm quite sure his lawyer told him, just like they said, he sat there on the jump and they prepped him for 45 minutes on words he cannot say on TV. And he want to search for every word that's pushing the line just so he can say it on TV. Who would do that? Nobody but Gil. But here's the thing. They're talking about it. But the majority of the people are not really paying attention to him. He's not really resonating with a lot of people. And that's just facts. And see, Bill Simmons broke it all down. Once again, he said, I'll say some of the biggest shows are lying publicly about their deals, lying about their podcast numbers, and lying about their YouTube subs by paying for those subs. I can't believe how many people are dishonest about this stuff. And this is what's happening. These channels that come out of nowhere and they start doing 300, 400,000 just out the blue, trying to buy their way in. And that's the route Gilbert Arenas took. He came out and said, hey, let's just buy our way in. Yep. Got to play to pay. Well, I don't know if he ain't got no way to get out of it. See, some white people talking. See, when the white people said he ain't got nothing to say, so he gonna remain quiet. And he ain't saying nothing to me no more. That boy, he threw. Yep. No one's gonna review it. Yep. Review that behavior, because that's exactly what he's talking about. Now, let's take a look. These are the top sports podcast shows. Bill Simmons, number 2. Pardon My Take is number 1. There's no Gil's Arena nowhere in sight. Now, how can the number 1 show on YouTube not be in the top for the number 1 podcast show? It's not even in the top 50. Nowhere in the top 50. That's unbelievable. Absolutely. No shortcuts in life, Gil. Well, see, here's the thing. He's throwing a lot of money at it, meaning that underdogs were throwing a lot of money at it. See, Underdog was throwing a lot of money at it because they thought they were getting something special. Underdog Fantasy thought they were Gil's this big name. We're going to put this money up. We're going to get a lot of people to sign up for this show. We're going to build a studio in Gil's house. That's saving us money for having to build a studio somewhere else in like a building where we got to pay rent. We can just put this in Gil's thing and then leave him with it when we're done. But we want to get more signups into Underdog Fantasy. And it hasn't been working out. Because if it was working out, you've never seen a number 1 show on YouTube get reduced from 4 shows to 2 shows. That's not me saying it. That's Underdog saying we can't afford to have 2 shows. And we want to keep Skip Show. So Skip Show is doing more than y'all. They put more of the money in the Skip Show than your show. And they saying we can't afford to pay all these salaries. Some guys going to have to get removed. Some people going to have to go. Now, I told Gil in the beginning, Lexi Brown had to go. He know Lexi has to go. And she's basically useless to the show. And I like Lexi Brown. She's just not made for podcasting. You know, some people just isn't. And the more I kept telling him that, the more he understood it and agreed. But she came in a package deal with BJ. And he was like, look, she came in a package deal with BJ. So she was here before Miko, but we had to wait until she can get through, you know, what she had to do with the season or whatever before she can come over. So she was already signed first. But she came in a package deal with BJ. And that's just what it is. Oh, the narratives is always going to change when it comes to him. But as you can see, they dumped all this money into it. They have a studio and you have a staff about 12, 15, almost 30 people in there to do what? To work the cameras? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen because you don't need all those guys and you're paying for it. All of this stuff is being paid for. Gil don't know he's paying for it. So when they start cutting everybody their checks, they're going to say, Gil, well, you paid for this. You paid for the cameraman. You paid for that guy. You paid for him. That's how the narrative is always going to be. He paid for all these. So all the money is going down. All the money that they would have been paying him is going that route. So they say, well, why is it all going that route? Well, you got to look at Gil. Gil likes a show. He wants everything to be a studio, a stage. And the show set looks amazing. I always told him, I said, man, they built a good set. I'll just look at content, you know. My thing was always about the content. What did the content look like? What did the show look like? What was you actually saying on the show? And they have some good episodes, and then they have just bad episodes. Now, what was bad was the fact that you were surrounded by people who were, I would say, not on the cusp of making the show better or worse. One of the keys to knowing a show is bad or there's money being put behind the promotion of the show is to actually go to the show itself.
He had his own like FBI thing earlier in the summer. People were saying, "Oh, maybe Gilbert was on the toll." So as soon as he saw the story, he comes in with the bag with the informant lunch on it. But even as he's telling the story, I'm like, I don't believe you, Gilbert. I think he's still gonna troll. He's still gonna do these jokes, and he's still gonna have fun with it. In the rest of the clip, he says he had to make calls to the underworld to make sure, am I kosher? Am I good? Or am I in danger here? And they let him know he's good, and now he can start his car.
I just don't believe the part where he didn't go in his car for a couple
a week and a half. He said,
no way. There's no way he didn't go in his car for a couple of weeks.
You know about those car bombs?
Well, yeah, I do.
Okay, so
there's no way he didn't go in his car. Well, I stutter. Just trying to tell you.
I do believe he was scared, though, and I don't believe he scares easily.
There's a moment, right? There's a brief moment where you're like, oh, like I'm making a joke, and I'm thinking I'm making the joke at the expense of Terry Rozier, at the expense of Chauncey Billups, at the expense of Adam Silver. And you realize when you look at the names on that list, you're like, oh, there's some people who don't make jokes. They don't make jokes, yeah. And like I need to clarify real quick. My name's Bennett. I ain't in it.
Well, that's the thing that this guy doesn't understand is that Gil was renting to these people, and there's text messages involved. And if they didn't have anything on him, they would have just dropped the cases or they'd have threw out the charges by now. But they got court for all of that. But that's neither here nor there. Let's check out the actual channel itself. The fastest growing
Welcome back to Gil's Arena presented by
the fastest growing show to hit 1 million subs, 1 million subs. All the money you've seen on YouTube thrown into this show, right? You've seen tons of money thrown around on this show. 1.1 million subs. That's crazy. Like, look at this. 3 months ago, almost 1 million for Stephen A. Smith's return to the show, right? And 1 million views, and it's done nothing. All of these short videos really are doing absolutely nothing. Now, the fact that he's sharing this page because he does not own it anymore, they own the channel. They bought it. So it doesn't belong to them right now. All of this content belongs to Underdog Fantasy. They own this channel, The Arena. Look, season 4 of Gil's is Wednesday and Thursday. Gridiron is Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays. So y'all got 2 days of the week. They got 3 days of the week. They got Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Gil got Wednesday and Thursday. and y'all the #1 show, but they're going to let y'all do Wednesday and Thursday and give them 3 days out of the week. Where does that make sense if you're the #1 show? You don't get reduced. They trying to add more shows because they know it's fraudulent. Now, let's just go to any show that they got. Let's go to their full shows.
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings or your time for this ad. Hit that skip button.
No problem, I will. Now, before the show even starts, let's start scrolling down. Normally, when people are faking traffic, the first couple of views they have are not usually real. There's normally bots or people that's not really incorporated with anything. Okay. This person seems like he's real, though. Okay, you got a real guy here this time. Yep, he got a sweet thing. So this is a real dude. All right, congratulations, Gil. You got one real guy leading off your show. In your comment sections, you finally got it fixed. Now, when you see things like this, and you start seeing all of these other people chime in under the comments, this is a plan. And as you can see, look, boss fights, live streams, reactions. This person is from the gaming community. See, they come in from the gaming side. So Gil's been doing stuff, spending money on trying to get into the gaming world, playing video games so he can get all these gamers over here. And by having all these gamers over here, he can go ahead and create a whole digital space. Yeah, where he can get for gaming. He wants that traffic. So now he can go to a platform and put his videos up there and try to act like a gamer so they can come over here and comment on his content. All these other people. Okay. Here's another plant. They just found another person with nothing they follow.
Turns out if you've been in a car,
no reality, nothing about him. But he's so dedicated to want to post something about Gilbert Arenas. This guy has not made a comment on any other sports page, nothing. Only thing he is concerned about is Gil's Arena. Out of the blue. This is what he decides he likes. And this has been going on since you can go through countless episodes. I really don't like clicking on any of this stuff because I don't want them sending me any alerts about this show. Now, once again, here is another false account. JMF Stream Verified. Only 4 subscribers to this channel. right? This is a person that's probably on YouTube because they do work in there. So this is probably somebody on the underdog staff. And the only people that work there is the people that they talk to. Other than that, it's cooked. And look at what this person who does nothing actually brings up. Gil roasting Kwame Brown there at the end was ruthless. We need this show to be on at least 3 times a week. Who are you? Now, if they got a whole show, why are they so concerned about Kwame Brown? Right? They're a sports show. Kwame Brown is not on television. Why they want to mention Kwame Brown at the end of it? Because they want to get everybody to know that they talking about Kwame so they can check out their show. And who is that person? Somebody that works for them. You can always tell who they are going on their channel. This person doesn't like anything, is not attached to anything, but so concerned about Gil's Arena. So all these guys are paying to play. And they're throwing all this big money around. But let's try to see its ranked. Now let's go to the AI version. Now, AI version has this show. You're going to love this. Gil's Arena is YouTube ranked. Let me see. It says top 20 on YouTube's podcast chart. A YouTube podcast chart? What is that? 7 in basketball podcasts in the US on platforms like Apple Podcasts. The podcast rankings can fluctuate depending on the platform you check. 20 on YouTube's weekly podcast chart. Right? 7 in podcasts in the United States. #1 basketball podcast show on PodScan FM. What the hell is PodScan FM? PodScan. Oh my God. So here is a PodScan where they try to see the ranking of the show and everything else, the activity over the past year to where it is now, all the Apple Music Sports saying it's #1 in basketball. And I'm like, this looks weird. So this is what I don't understand. They're going to try to convince me that the All the Smoke podcast show backed by Our Heart Radio and the Black Effect. And Gil's Arena is #1 over them. And they're backed by nobody but Underdog Fantasy. On this pod scan thing, this is crazy. Now, this is where they fool you. This is Antigua and Barbuda, like Barbados, basically. So that's where they're #1 at. Now, of course. Right, they want to let everybody in the comment section know, hey, we talking about Kwame at the end, tune in. And they trying to act like that was a regular person. Now, let's take a look at this. Gil's Arena is supposed to be #1 on this thing, right? Over all the Smoke Podcast show. And where? Antigua and the Barbados, right? It's like, get the hell out of here. That's how people know this is fake. All right, let's go to this one. In Kenya, Africa, Gil's Arena's #1. #1 in Africa. In Kenya, get the hell out of here. Okay. In Malta, get the hell out of here. My buddy live over there. My Bulgarians over in Malta. What's up? So the Draymond Green show, Carmelo Anthony show, all of these shows here, the Chicago Bulls podcast, which mostly a lot of Bulgarians are from Chicago. I don't know why they come here. They got nightclubs here. So the Chicago Bulls podcast would be huge there. First things first, all of these real shows and real podcasts, Gil's Arena is going to be #1. Fake it till you make it. Oh, my goodness. This is crazy. In the Cameroon. Oh, y'all #3 there. Bam, y'all lost out. Lonzo Ball got a show that's big in Cameroon. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Right? Now, as you can see, these podcast people nuts. As you can see, this is what we talking about. Faking it till you make it. And this is what he's saying. You could buy your way to the top. YouTube, the social media site. Look at that. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and the public. So these people are buying all of this stuff. Right? The only one that they had of any prominence, and they're trying to break down that whole thing on these podcast shows. And it's just terrible. I haven't seen it in a while, but the last time I saw it, it was just as terrible as before. It had gotten even worse. Like half of the people weren't even caring. Now the Cameroon is crazy. So it's just what we were saying. They got to pay to play. So when you see people paying to play, this is how it falls out. or it plays out rather. Oh yeah, so it's all been revealed. He can't hide it anymore. He did that to himself. He the one that put himself in that position. If you want to hear it that way, but yes. I don't see Gilbert Arenas as a great podcast to listen to, because all it is LeBron, Kobe. You know, I'm just not into all that LeBron, Kobe. How many Jordan versus LeBrons you gonna do? You know, it's just like you're sick of it. First Take do it, everybody else do it. It's like, how many times you gonna do that and think you're gonna just get away with it? It's like with Skip Bayless. All he gonna do is talk about Jordan and LeBron every day. Him and Shannon Sharp did that for like 5 years. I'm like, dude, I'm exhausted. I mean, there's nothing else. Michael Jordan he's not shooting another basket for the NBA. It's over. So you talking about his legacy dropping? It's like he can't drop his legacy. His legacy already solidified. He's done. Nothing LeBron can do is gonna get him past Jordan. He's already blown that. So that's done. No, they don't talk basketball. Now I saw a clip of them. Gilbert's trying to break down a play. I'm like, what? When has he ever done that? They don't have any identity on the show. They have none. No imagination, just awful. Well, since he says it's doing so good, and he claimed in his own words is that he doesn't have a podcast show. He has a show, a regular show. Well, you got to explain that to the people who do podcasts, because they don't seem to believe it or take it in that format. They believe like, hey, you have a real podcast show. It might be both. See, we know he's doing it for Gil's Arena. And now his new channel, the Gilbert Arenas show that was No Chill Gil, all of a sudden started taking off and getting views. When before it never got views. Not like this. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why all of a sudden this thing just started taking off? That's not making any sense. So I said, okay, let me do some digging. Find out what it is that's going on here so that we can go ahead and, fix said situations. So I said, well, let me look at the Gilbert Arenas show and look into the channel and see what's happening here. How in the world is this just all of a sudden taking off and these views start coming in? And sure enough, everything looks fraudulent, because he went live and his live views hadn't kicked in yet. And he had only 200 people in the chat. Then he started making sure whoever was supposed to work the show and change it did just that. And all of a sudden, here it is, 2,000 people in the chat. So what he's basically doing on this channel is another thing what he's doing, trying to promote it using the gaming network that he had. And once again, pumping in and spending money on both of these channels now, trying to boost this one up like he did the other ones. But they're not taking off. Neither is his other channel that he's been trying to hide for some reason, which he want to sell that channel because it still got 500,000 subs on it that he probably didn't bought, but it's worthless and it's just sitting around that he could sell to a network to put a show on. So he just wants to keep it moving and active so he could put another show on it or whatever. But this here is another fraudulent situation. Money being dumped. Fluffing doggone short cutouts.
We were planning our anniversary trip.
And they're giving them permission to use NBA video.
Someone tried to,
which is another thing too. Buying views is diabolical. Yeah, he's all over the place. Ask him to show his analytics. I guarantee you he won't. I guarantee you he won't. Nah, he ain't gonna show no analytics. Okay, we'll see if it's here. Yeah, there it is. I knew it was somewhere around here. This is, look at this idiot. Look at this idiot. Now, look at this. 500,000 subs, 1,000 videos up there. Where are those videos at? Where are those 1,000 videos at? I don't see 1,000. So you have put all those videos on private. Look at this. All the stuff. 1,100. Okay, let's see what he put out today. This is Superstar Gilbert Arenas. That's 4 months ago. I want to see what he did. Videos. Okay, 4 hours ago. He just put up a short. 32 views. 2 weeks ago, he put up a video. 700 views. 2 weeks ago, 200 views. Look at that, 283. Now, why isn't this taking off? Now he wants to call it the Arena Spear and the Gilbert Arenas Show. Look, he's doing everything he can to try to sell and push this garbage. Now, YouTube used to crack down on this. and call it duplication. And they would snatch down everything that you did and said, hey, this is the same content on 2 channels and you own both of them. And this is just duplication. Duplication used to be a major problem in said scenario. Now, as you can see, look at that, no numbers. None of them earthquake numbers he got going on now. So he's trying to fake it till he make it. But after all of this, there's still not 1,000 videos on here. He didn't silence a whole lot of videos on here. The thing about Gil is just that he's an idiot. So the thing is, you gotta, he said, did he buy that channel? He owns this channel. He owns all of them. They just not taking off because he's not putting money into that one. See, those are his real numbers. Gilbert has not put in any work whatsoever. He just thought he can jump on YouTube and he's Gilbert Arenas. People just gonna come check him out. And it didn't work like that. So he's gotta figure his way out on this road he's on and find out where he's gonna fit in. Yeah, so they're buying views. They're spending money trying to buy their way to the top. And it's being poorly done. And it's to the fact that the people that's in the podcast space know what you're doing, know that it's fraudulent, know you don't have this real attention, you don't have real audience retention. Only on shorts do people really, your views really come in the short space, not for long content. And the fact is, Underdog Fantasy wants y'all to sign them up. And the fact that they can't sign you because it's a bunch of nonsense, your job was to get signups. Underdog don't care about your YouTube success. They need people to sign up to Underdog Fantasy. That's why they got you. They thought you had interest. They thought you are the big Gilbert Arenas. You're the guy that's going to make things happen. And so far, nothing's happening. They've dumped all this money into you, and it don't seem to be paying out. So Gil's like, well, I can go get the money. I got a lot of people interested. Well, good luck to that. And to whoever those fools are that buys any show that he does. Only idiots would find him entertaining. And he just say, well, there's a lot of idiots out there. Well, they can enjoy watching you. Oh, yeah. Gil was caught into a thing where it looked like he was getting bullied. It was real funny. It's a guy I think works for Underdog. Works for their group by the name of Tiger. And he makes all these videos. But this one was pretty interesting, Tiger.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo. There's no Milo here.
Oh, yeah. Hold on one sec.
We just won the best sports show of the year. And
hey guys, for a second. Yo, what's up? Don't take this the wrong way, but I think we're gonna have to shorten the show to 2 times a week now. But we're actually losing sponsorships, and the money just doesn't make sense anymore to keep the show going. Well, nobody actually wants to sponsor a show when Kenyon is telling 12-year-old girls to break each other's glasses.
I coach 5th grade girls basketball. I see it.
That was
Go at her.
right.
Go at what? I want them to knock your glasses off.
Or Kenyon encouraging people to fight.
I'm a dude that like to fight.
Or threatening our producers.
What about this says Kenyon?
Or threatening other people on the couch. It's just not.
You directly to you.
Stop talking to me like that.
It's not a safe work environment. I'm sorry, all right? We at Underdog, we just want to create a safe work. I'm sorry, all right? Don't make me say it again. Okay, but we still give you guys NBA experience, right? Which other show can say they do that? You just give too much information. Like when you told people that you hog-tied Nick as a stripper.
We can't go to the strip club. You about to be the stripper. Tie this nigga up. Throw the ones on.
How can you play basketball?
You said some racist jokes before. We can't have that.
We don't want you. You're too black.
And then you also told the current NBA player he was built like a bitch. I thought it was a 3. See, that shit right there is why we can't get any sponsorship. How much can really BMF ads, rough greens, and donations from the chat really pay us? But come on, man. I bring that championship experience. Yes, Nick, you're absolutely correct. We highly value your championship experience on this show. That's something nobody on this couch, or matter of fact, any other show can say that they have. But that does not mean you can say the R word when we are live.
I grew out of my reputation, though.
I don't remember saying that. Yes, because you were drunk, Nick. We can't have an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. You guys are pushing it too much now. And we can't have you keep comparing our number one sponsor with dope. You mean rough greens? I rough greens all the time. And please, just stop it with the costumes. This isn't a kid's show. How are you going to look professional when you're dressed up with a robber mask that was Darth Vader? Okay, so what do we have to do? Well...
Motherfucker.
So that was a classic. That was classic. Now that was classic. That was classic. He basically broke down what the problems were in the situation that they had on the show and why they don't have any sponsors on the show whatsoever. The number one show on YouTube podcast don't have one sponsor because sponsors look at the demographics of the numbers. It's not just what they're saying. There is other podcast shows. There are swearing. There's everything. And they can get sponsors. Hell, I can get a sponsor before them. You know why? Because it's not a lot of profanity on my show. I could push the content. I've turned down sponsors. Turned down a lot of them. Because I'm somebody, if I'm like this, if I don't use the product or I don't think this product is good for the people that I talk to for my demographic, I'm not going to push it. I'm somebody who lost $4,000 a month because I told them, hey, I don't want that gay ad on my thing. They was pushing some medicine for like gay people. And I'm like, what is this? I don't want this. And boy, they came right after me for that. All money ain't good money. I had to stand on principle. Because my demographic didn't want to see it. And I said, well, thanks for bringing it to my attention because I have Premiere, so I didn't see it. But I was on One Crack News, this channel, and then I saw it. And I said, whoa, they was right. Like, none of the content I'm talking about either involves this. Why is it there? So they took like a whole bunch of ads, and then they just took them to somebody else, probably the academic's house. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So I'm not going to keep y'all that long. It's already been an hour. What I'm talking about that long. So I'm finna get ready to get to the Patreon, get it cracking. You know it, Sagittarius brothers, we stand on that truth. So I'm out. Thanking you.